And we are live here with Humberto. He has returned from the unknown for what he did on his New Year's Eve endeavors. And what a crazy freaking first day of the year. Like these two stories. So one story, we wake up, we hear what happened in New Orleans. It's insane. It's insane that the police let it happen. It's insane what they were saying about this guy. First, Fox is saying that he came across the border 2 days ago. Then they retracted. They say he came across the border November 16th. Then they're saying now that he lived in Texas, was born in Texas, and served in the military. And then that's just the beginning of the craziness with that story. And then obviously the Cybertruck blows up in front of Trump Tower in Las Vegas, and like they gave it like the Butler, Pennsylvania treatment, where the initial reports, like 12 out of 15 mainstream media sites, like if you're looking at the first page of the news articles, it was saying that the car just caught on fire in front of Trump Tower when, like, it's clear as day, it just exploded like a legit explosion. Humberto, between these two things, which one are you more shocked by moment by moment?
I think, wow, that type of attack, the one we saw in New Orleans, is very common, especially in countries that have like high gun control laws, like Canada. I think it happened 2 or 3 times last year. Very common.
Hey, Chad, can you let me know if you're hearing Humberto, because I'm not hearing him on my audio, but let me know if you guys are, and then we can make do with that. Zilla, I see you're in the chat. Are you hearing Humberto? Humberto, do a quick sound check.
Hey, let me see. Can you hear me? Like I see my audio on the screen. So
okay, so then we're good. Okay, so I'm gonna play this video quick, and so this is one of the first of many weird things that's going on with this thing. So there's a different narrative amongst different people with how this guy got past the barrier.
Perpetrator who went around our barricades.
This truck cannot go around those barricades. Everything in New Orleans in the French Quarter has a balcony. All the balconies have several steel.
Perpetrator who went around our barricades.
This truck cannot go around those barricades.
So that was the police chief, that old lady who's 85 years old and 60 pounds. She said it went around the barrier, and then this guy's an eyewitness. He said it cannot go around the barrier because of how narrow the sidewalks are.
Everything in New Orleans in the French.
Play that again.
Perpetrator who went around our barricades.
This truck cannot go around those barricades.
That right there, weird. I'm gonna keep playing.
Everything in New Orleans in the French Quarter has a balcony. All the balconies have several steel posts. And there's no going around anything. If that barricade's up, that's a wrap. That's your end.
The Department of Public Works, okay, listen to this. They were upgrading the bollards along a section of Bourbon Street where this attack occurred. So they were trying to replace those old things that kind of, block traffic. They're those little, they were plastic, I guess. They were trying to replace them with stainless steel, according to some of the reports we were reading. So back out here in the newsroom, they were trying to replace those. So that's what could have led to those barricades possibly not being in the right places, we're being told, if this driver was able to somehow go around those barricades on a night when there were thousands of people in the street.
Yeah, this was a public works program that started November 18th.
Yeah.
And was supposed to be scheduled to be done early this year.
So this is appalling to me, and I've been saying all day that I'm literally like just as mad at the police as I would be the terrorist, if not more mad at the police, because you know what a terrorist is going to do. You know a terrorist is going to do terrorist things, but you expect law enforcement to do law enforcement things, and if they fail at letting somebody who has ill intent getting past the breach point and mowing people down, then that's a failure on them. And do you think I'm safe to show the video of what he did, of the guy getting around and flooring it?
I wouldn't show it unless you have a very heavily censored version.
It's not censored, but it's like the street cam. I feel like it's important to show it. Like, it doesn't show anybody getting mowed down, just shows them turning into it. I almost feel like I have to.
All right, let's take a chance. Columbus did, Brandon.
That's right. What's the saying? Here it is. All right, ready? So that's him, the white pickup truck right there. So see, he goes around the cop car. Oh, it's weird. It's kind of freezing up on us. So see, that's basically it. The cop car's right there, and he slowly goes past it, then just turns and floors it. So I guess Like I was saying today, even if you didn't have a barrier, why don't you just park police cars horizontally across the thing? Because if you look at a map of this area, it's like it's 0.8 miles, and it's just like the beginning of it and then the other side of it, and then aside from that there's not any really main entry points. So like the fact that they couldn't close off these two main areas, like there's weird stuff around this, like at every turn, and whenever law enforcement saying different things than eyewitnesses, I'm super skeptical.
100%. I mean, last night I was at an event just like this in Orlando. It was a ball drop and everything. It was a neighborhood, and it was, there was 6 blocks to one side in one street, and every single entry point had a police car, 2 police cars parked across the street.
Yeah.
Heavy barriers, 2 police guys, on both sides, and they had barricades before the barricades so they could stop the cars, coming even close to the street where people were walking around. And how convenient, Brandon, that they were just remodeling the barriers. I don't know about that, Brandon. It's too convenient.
Right. And oh my God, there's so many videos to show with this here. I'm going to show this one that shows. Ready? Check this out. So it gets weirder and weirder and weirder. So that Fox show that they were making it sound like there was nothing there, like they were putting up plastic barriers, and then the eyewitness said the same thing. But this video is from a little while ago. It wasn't from today. Here, ready? So check this out.
Doug McCatch, I'm with NOLA.com, and lately I've been writing about the mayor and governor's proposals to make the French Quarter safer. And one of those proposals was to have mechanical barriers that would prevent vehicles from approaching Bourbon Street after certain hours.
So we take it down this view. Here you go. You ready? You ready? That exciting.
There were terrorist attacks in Nice and in Berlin where terrorists used trucks as weapons. And this is supposed to protect us from that.
I don't think it's that bad of an idea. Keeps cars from running us over when we're drunk, right?
Yeah, but he's not laughing out. So, I mean, this thing is there apparently. So, like, why is everybody saying a different thing?
Because, Brandon, these people, every time we had, a tragedy happen, and you've seen this because we've been in the middle of it, the past 2 years, every time a tragedy happens, they deny everything first, so they come up with a narrative. And matter of fact, there's 150 people here. I will encourage you right now, because this is still ongoing. Whatever you find, every video, every tweet, every news stream,
drop it in the chat.
Drop it in the chat and save it, because these people, Brandon,
I've been downloading every video I find.
They are so dishonest. It's unbelievable how dishonest they are and how they change the narrative right after. Remember when Trump got shot? Apparently it was glass shards.
Or he fell because there was a loud noise.
So this right now they're going to try to memory hold this, and this is too weird. It's too weird, Brandon.
And then did you see that the guy had an ISIS flag apparently, or some flag on the back of his truck, and the police immediately put a bag over whatever flag it was. And Alex Jones brought up a good point that so my initial reaction was that they were going to do this because let's see, so they were going to do this to hold off any hostility towards whoever the person might have been, or stop anybody from jumping to reactions or conclusions. But Alex Jones said by covering it, they could say it's whatever they want it to be. And where the hell did ISIS come from all of a sudden? We haven't mentioned ISIS in years. Now they're saying that ISIS did this and that ISIS did the Las Vegas thing.
All right, Brandon, you hit the nail on the head. Can we get serious and do a serious intelligence analysis of this?
Yeah,
all right,
let's do it.
No. Okay, motive. What's the motive? What's the capability? What's the goal? Right?
Oh, let's see. We have our hearts set on destabilizing the Middle East.
All right, capabilities. Who has the capability to organize something like this? This could be a lone wolf. So most people that own a car and have a driving license have the capabilities to do this. That's the first part of the analysis.
Right.
All right. What's the motive? Has someone claimed the attack yet?
No, it's just us claiming that this guy was connected to ISIS. And then I mean, without any evidence, apparently they started claiming that, or they opened up a terrorist probe into the whoever that did that Cybertruck thing today.
All right. Could the flag be planted? Could be a double fake.
Yeah, 100%. Like, so why? Like, what police officer thinks to just like put a bag over the flag in the middle of something like that? Like, and so reportedly there were bombs that were planted around the place, and there were like 4 other guys. So it's that much of a priority to put a fucking bag over the whatever the flag might have been.
All right. So I think we're getting somewhere. So the guy goes in, drives around the barrier, quote unquote, according to police. That's official source.
Yeah.
All right. 15 people dead. First priority is covering the flag. And then the pictures of the flag, being photographed, they leak to the internet. So what do you make of that?
I make it whenever there's conflicting narratives and simple questions that can't be answered, my senses go off, because I don't like to have this inclination that every time something like this happens, I go into, conspiratorial mode. But like what the fuck are people supposed to think when the police commissioner is saying something that's like completely different than what the witnesses are saying, and then the news is saying 3 different things with like just the simple thing of the guy crossed the border, the Mexican border, he's from the Middle East, but then they go full circle and say that he was born in the U.S. Not only born in the U.S., but he was an active duty military service member. Like, what? And that he's radicalized by ISIS.
All right. So the original report was that he was Middle
Came across
Eastern,
2 days ago.
and he crossed 2 days ago.
Yeah, then they switched it like 10 minutes later, saying that no, he actually came across in November 16th.
Sorry if I'm being petty, but I think we need to get all the facts first, so we can break it down. So one of the narratives is that he crossed the borders 2 days ago, and the pickup truck was rented. All right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it turns out he was a military vet that was radicalized by ISIS.
Right.
What do
Correct.
you think?
I think that just the fact that the story changed that much is super concerning.
But let's move the narrative forward. Okay, let's go on the case that he crossed the border 2 days ago. All right.
Right.
What message is that sending?
That terrorists can easily cross the border.
Okay, what reaction is that gonna give us?
Be mad at our government and be worried about terrorist attacks.
And doubling down on closing the border.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be positive for the American people.
What, the terrorist attack?
I mean, no, that's never a positive. Like, it's
So what are you asking? Is there a positive for the American people?
No, I mean, if this strategy drives, the American government to do their job in closing the border and checking who's coming in, that will be a narrative that will make this country safer. Do you think these people are after making this country safer, or who are these people? I don't know.
Yeah, no, dude. I'm of the belief, it's my opinion, that they've been blatantly trying to cause chaos since the election happened. Like, there's no other explanation for what they're doing with Russia. There's no other explanation for what they're doing with these pardons of people who were involved in, or not pardons of people who were involved in 9/11, but taking away their death sentences. And then now this stuff, like what, like these, like I've been waiting, like praying that doesn't happen. Like we've seen all these videos of terrorists bragging about how easy it was to cross the border for like the last 4 years, and like what just happens now?
Okay,
2 in 1 day.
You said it, I said it, Vinny said it. We have it on tape. People can go to the internet and find the tapes of us saying that anytime now something bad is going to happen.
Yeah.
And this is terrible. Like, imagine 15 young, people having a great time in a free country, celebrating New Year's with their hopes up to do great things next year. Their life are taken away to make
so preventable. That's why I'm more pissed off at the police than this guy almost, because it's ridiculous. Like he drove around the barrier, like what? And people are trying to defend. It's like, oh, like there's no stopping that guy. No bullshit. Like if your job is security, like if you're guarding a door, like you could be in front of that door, but if somebody just walks around you and gets in and kills the person you're protecting, then you failed at the job. So the police blatantly, like, I think it's the point where whoever put the barrier, like whoever was in charge of securing that perimeter and putting the barrier in place, like they should be held legally accountable.
They should be.
And why is that fucking lady the police commissioner?
But Brandon, I mean, we almost had one of the biggest tragedies in American democracy. It almost happened in June. Was it July? No, it was September. All right. The leading candidate for president of the United States almost got shot. And
it was the same treatment as this.
Yes. Until this day, we don't know who it was, who was in charge, no firings, nothing. All right. So and that was running the lead candidate for president of the United States. What are the chances that we're going to get people being responsible for this?
I mean, I think once Trump gets in, it's much more likely. Did you see what Biden said, by the way?
No, I didn't see it.
He just had a statement a few minutes ago. I'm gonna have to play that. Let's see, where is that?
Can he say anything after this? Like, we're not gonna get those American lives back. Can he say anything that will make this better?
I mean, there's a way to handle it and a way not to handle it, and I would say that the way he handled it is in a way that made us feel better. Because I mean, that's ultimately what you're supposed to do as a president. You're supposed to like speak to people and make them feel better about, like, feel like everything's going to be okay. Like, you know, this is a bad day for us, but things are going to be okay because you know how to take us in the right direction. And I mean, obviously it's not the case with him, but here we go.
This is so sad. This is so sad.
No, I can speak for all Americans when I say our hearts are with the people of New Orleans after the despicable attack that occurred in the early morning hour.
I think you should raise the volume a little bit.
Those who were killed, to all those who were injured, to all the people of New Orleans who are grieving today, I want you to know I grieve with you. Our nation grieves with you. We're going to stand with you as you mourn and as you heal in the weeks to come. I want to thank our brave first responders and law enforcement personnel who stopped the attacker in his tracks before he could kill or injure even more people. I want to thank you to everyone at the Department of the Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, including the FBI, for working nonstop to investigate this heinous act. The FBI is leading the investigation to determine what happened, why it happened, whether there was any continuing threat to public safety. Here's what we know so far. The FBI has reported to me the killer was an American citizen, born in Texas. He served in the United States Army on active duty for many years. He also served in the Army Reserve until a few years ago. The FBI also reported to me that mere hours before the attack, he posted videos on social media indicating that he was inspired by ISIS, expressing a desire to kill. The ISIS flag was found in his vehicle, which he rented to conduct this attack. Possible explosives were found in the vehicle as well, and more explosives were found nearby. The situation is very fluid, and the investigation has a preliminary stage. And the fact is that right now, there you go. The law enforcement and intelligence community are continuing to look for any connections, associations, or co-conspirators. We have nothing additional to report at this time. The investigation is continuing to be active, and no one should jump to conclusions. I've directed my Attorney General, the FBI Director, the Secretary of Homeland Security, the head of the National Counterterrorism Center, and the intelligence community.
Oh, great.
To work on this intensively until we have a full and complete information. And once we have that information, I will share that information as soon as we can confirm it. Additionally, we're tracking the explosion of a Cybertruck outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas. Law enforcement and the intelligence community are investigating this as well, including whether there's any possible connection with the attack in New Orleans. Thus far, there's nothing to report on that score at this time. I directed my team to make sure every resource is made available to federal, state, and local law enforcement. to complete the investigation in New Orleans quickly and to make sure there is no remaining threat to the American people. We'll support the people of New Orleans as they begin the hard work of healing. New Orleans is a place unlike any other place in the world. It's a city full of charm and joy. So many people around the world love New Orleans because of its history, its culture, and above all, its people. So I know, while this person committed a terrible assault on the city, the spirit of our New Orleans will never, never, never be defeated. It always will shine forth. We've seen that time and time again throughout its history, and I know we'll see it again in the days and weeks ahead. May God bless the people of New Orleans. May God bless our police and our first responders. May God protect our troops.
Watch, he walks away without answering questions.
Thank you.
Not a single fucking question answered. Not a single fucking question answered.
That is
Like, and I didn't feel a shred of sincerity or hurt or anything from him. Like, he feels nothing about it. He's just saying the words that he needs to say to do it, like the job on paper that he feels that they tell me he's supposed to do. Like, I'd be fucking furious if I knew somebody who was hurt there. At him, at Mayorkas, at the police. Like, they're just as bad as the terrorists. You know, like, they created the exact conditions for this to happen. So,
this is shameful, Brendan. It's a real shame. This is not what America stands for. This is not the level of safety. America should
real
be
quick, guys in the chat, like, what who thinks this is actually from ISIS? Like, I think that's the biggest heaping pile of bullshit that I've heard all day. Potentially, is that ISIS is involved with this. Like what the, like, I'll show you what they they threw a bag over. Fix the audio. Somebody said, "What's wrong with the audio? Is it echoing?"
It was perfect.
Check. We still echoing?
Not on my side.
So now, Tom, is it good now? We the best. Let me know if the mic is still echoing when I pull this clip up. I don't think it is, but so guys in the chat, what do you think? Do you think this was ISIS? I think that's ridiculous. I don't think it's. All right, we're good now. What are you saying? Yeah, to Omar. Are you saying yeah? You think it was ISIS, or yeah, the mic is fixed? So, like I said, they threw a bag over this thing, and there's like nothing to show aside from like a flag they just took a picture of from the ground. So it's still an echo. How about now?
I think I have an idea.
Is it coming from your side, maybe?
I don't know.
So let's go ahead and move on to what's going on in Vegas, because like both these things, I keep seeing shit pop up.
Wait, Brandon, can we pause a little bit on this topic?
Can we pause a little bit?
Yeah, because I mean we have to
make sure the echo is fixed first.
Is it still echoing?
The guys are saying it is, yeah.
Let me see audio. How about now?
All right, we'll keep talking. Keep giving us feedback, guys, on whether or not it's still echoing. But
they say you're fine. Well, anyhow,
cool. So between these two things, you think they're connected? You think one stands out more than the other?
I mean, Brandon, I wanna go over that we have the official narrative now. The narrative given by the President of the United States, that is Joe Biden. That
wait, the police chief is speaking about the thing in Las Vegas. Should we throw that on?
Yeah, we should throw that on. Do you have the live stream?
Yeah, I do. Do I have what?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. No, like every minute stuff is coming out about this.
So while you pull that up, I just want to say that we have the official narrative. Okay. That is there it is. That it was an active duty or retired military personnel that was radicalized by ISIS. Are they? What does that mean for the overall narrative and the objective of this whole thing?
Yeah, I think the narrative's bullshit. I think that our government's responsible for this, either by letting it happen or just straight up putting somebody in a position to do that.
But the question is, why are they trying to push that narrative?
That's ISIS?
That is someone that was active duty military personnel that was radicalized.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to see where they take it, but like the stuff that comes out first is normally the most true. And like the fact that I went from he just came across the border to he came across the border a little while ago till he was born in America and part of the military. I think to know why they're pushing that, we'll have to see like how they expand upon that, because like the way they try to push the narrative is usually a good indicator of why they're pushing it that way. Well, but I guess it's a bad look overall if somebody that was in the military got radicalized by ISIS, which is retarded to even think, because ISIS barely even exists anymore.
Could you take a guess what the next move is?
Yeah. Well, I'm almost surprised that they didn't say he got radicalized by like somebody who's closer with Iran, but I mean, like Israel's wiped out all the proxies from Iran, so I guess maybe it's like a little bit unrealistic to do that right now.
Could it be the domestic terrorist narrative that we're trying to push? People being radicalized instead of the United States. That's
a good thought.
Yeah. They've been pushing that narrative very hard. And Joe Biden even said that he's more worried about domestic terrorists than external threats.
Here, I'm going to play this one real quick.
Yes, actually, I have to thank Elon Musk specifically. He gave us quite a bit of additional information in regards to how the vehicle was locked after it exploded due to the force of the nature of the force from the explosion, as well as being able to capture all of the video from the Tesla charging stations across the country, and he sent that directly to us. So I appreciate his help on that. I'll take one more question.
About the truck?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
He said worst choice. He said worst choice for a car bomb ever because of the steel frame of the Cybertruck.
Well, and that they have all the information and it's connected to their servers, and they can check the state of the battery, the temperature of the truck, so they have the ability to check everything.
And so take a look at this too. Like, so this is how crazy this is. Like, right before we started, there's now a hostage situation going on in Las Vegas where they're saying it could be related to what happened in front of the Trump thing. But I mean, like the fact that like that truck couldn't have been closer to the sign that said Trump Tower in front of the building. So like just the way that the media reacted to it, like I think that's a dead giveaway.
I mean, it's definitely weird, but are hostage situations common there? I don't know. Like, I mean, people that gamble, they go pretty crazy real quick.
No, I'm just saying like the fact that a Tesla Cybertruck blew up in front of Trump's building, like that makes me feel like it's like a warning or a message to Trump and Elon, like a foreshadowing thing that.
Oh, it's very symbolic.
Yeah. Like that picture's iconic now. A blown up Cybertruck in front of Trump, the gold letter Trump on his building.
It is. I mean, imagine like that's Elon's main business and that's Trump's main business.
Yeah, like it's like they're both like iconic symbols that represent them.
Properties and electric vehicles.
So my theory is that this has nothing to do with terrorists and the fact that they're pushing the terrorist and ISIS narrative. Like it's almost like they're trolling us, like because they could come up with a more believable terrorist explanation than that, but pushing the ISIS thing, like I think it's one of those things where they're like saying like how much they could get away with making like the stupidest explanation possible. Because I think since Trump lost the election, they've been sitting around the deep state's been sitting around like just thinking up ways to create chaos, like ways to like distract from whatever they're in for, or like because I mean they're in for a world of hurt if all the things are being promised end up happening. And I think they're trying to like burn it all down in order to save themselves or save the pain from themselves.
I mean, if the truck didn't explode on its own, if it wasn't a malfunction or something related to the truck, if it had explosives in it, it doesn't matter who did it. It's still terrorism, Brandon.
Yeah, well, I mean, I consider our federal government terrorists. That's why I ended up not wanting to work for them. Like it's hilarious that the people who, on paper, it's their job to fight terrorists, they cause more terror to our country than anybody else in the world combined. That's a fact. Like I think that every terrorist attack, like it's like pretty well documented that like almost every terrorist attack, like the Boston bombing, the what else is there? The Oklahoma City bombing, 9/11, San Bernardino, like every single one of them, there's like these weird unexplainable things around them where there's like overlap with the federal government.
I mean, I don't believe that they're the worst terrorist organization.
Our government?
No,
you don't think they inflict the most pain upon us?
I don't think they're malicious in general.
Come on,
there's a lot of
our government. I'm not talking about like the average DMV dude or like the low level people at the FBI. I'm talking about the people that actually control the mechanisms of power. Like the people that make the decisions of what the CIA does, or make the decisions of what the FBI does. Because like just like Chris Wray, for example, like people didn't think that he was going to do all this crazy stuff when he came in, or Merrick Garland. I guess I don't think people thought he was going to be this crazy, but like whoever is driving these people to do what they end up doing, like they want chaos.
Like I think we're less than a month out to have all the information, or a lot of information to make an accurate judgment of this. And to make such a broad statement, I think we need to wait a little bit. We will know, Brandon. I think
that's something that'll trigger me more than anything. Like I'll be triggered that the way that the white nationalists were triggered about the Visa card if Trump doesn't disclose the JFK stuff. Like that's like not just because of the situation, because of the principle of like setting the precedent of declassifying stuff, like a mass declassification effort. Like if he doesn't actually come through with that, then like I think that'll be the most hurtful, biggest letdown thing he could possibly do. Because there's some things that like like sure he promised it, he doesn't come through on it, I'll be upset, but not like it's not like a legacy changing thing. But I think that's like a legacy changing thing if he doesn't come down hard on the intelligence agencies.
I mean, I think he needs to come down very hard on government in general, especially the intelligence agencies that have been weaponizing a system that is very delicate, Brandon. Like it's very, I mean, yeah, it's a very delicate system because not everyone can know everything, and trust when it comes to intelligence needs to be really high. It needs to be more than 60-70%. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but this is the first few hours after two terrible tragedies, and jumping to conclusions right now, it's difficult.
Well, here, I mean, I'm going to show you again, just for the shock factor, if anything, the lady who is responsible for this. What's her name? Police Commissioner, New Orleans. Like this lady should be in jail, in my opinion. And this is funny too. I forgot to mention this before, but so she was the police commissioner of California, of Oakland specifically, and Washington before she became the police superintendent or commissioner or whatever for New Orleans.
Is this real, Brandon?
Yeah, it sure is.
This is insane.
Oh, and this picture's from 2017, so she's actually young here.
No, but this connection is really crazy.
What, that she worked at those places before this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I bet if we dig a little bit deeper, all kinds of sick, twisted shit happened under her watching these places. Because I mean, like, look at those are two of the most fucked up places in the world: Washington State and Oakland. Like the first In-N-Out burger ever to close in the history of the world just closed in Oakland because of how disgusting and terrible it is. No, but I like if I was a family member of people who were killed by this, I would want this lady to be in jail because it's her fault that whatever barrier they had in place couldn't stop a fucking truck from driving around it or through it or whatever it ended up doing.
This is absolutely insane,
Like,
Brandon.
Because there's terrorist attacks where you're like, okay, that was a sophisticated terrorist attack. Like that, I could see how that could have slipped past law enforcement, or that's a hard thing to stop in the heat of the moment. Like it's hard to prepare for that. But a truck driving through a narrow alley, like I'll show you what the map of this place looks like. Where's that? So it's just a straight line. Ready? So this is what we're talking about here. You see this?
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So that's Bourbon Street. It's 0.8 miles. And I'm assuming like this is where that guy turned into. And like all these little side roads are way too narrow to drive a truck through. So the guy, you literally just need a barrier right here, and this can't happen.
So it's around 14 blocks, right?
Yeah, 0.8 miles.
14 blocks, 0.8 miles. If it's 14 blocks, there's around 13 streets. So a police car.
And they had 300 police officers there, she proudly said. Which, like, there's nothing prideful about that. If 300 police in attendance couldn't stop one truck from driving through this narrow alley.
That is very crazy. But at the same time,
it's unacceptable.
I'm not playing devil's advocate here. But I mean, I don't even know what to say. That is really crazy. Is this the first attack that we see on Bourbon Street?
No, like they were saying in that video before, there were actually attempted terrorist attacks in Bourbon Street, and that's why they were building this new and improved barrier that was going to take 8 months from the trusty local government. What was the Housing and Development Committee or Urban Development Committee or whatever. Also, we're having a special guest on soon. I forgot to mention that. I think you guys are going to like this. But between these two things, I don't know which one I'm more sketched out by between the Trump Tower thing and this. And I don't know, like, what are the odds you guys think that they're connected? And like, if I'm betting on this, I'm saying that they're both connected to our government, or like the evil people that are kind of controlling things behind the scenes, like the people that are responsible for all the bad things that happened in like the last 8-10 years. And I think they're connected in that way, not through ISIS, but through the deep state or whatever you want to call it. Here, let me invite my buddy in here quick. But what do you think, Umberto? Which one do you think is crazier? Do you think they're connected, and who do you think's behind the two of them?
I mean, I think the Las Vegas one is crazier, because it needed a lot more planning and it's more symbolic. But at the same time, and the other thing is that the New Orleans attack, that can be planned and done by a lone wolf. So someone radicalized enough could pull that off, especially what we know from police. I still don't have enough information to see a connection here.
Yeah, no, and like the fact that they're loosely trying to draw a connection, like I could see the direction that the narrative's going. Like it's going in a like ISIS, we have to go thwart them now narrative. And I mean, it's funny that they just they were thrilled to have a guy who was the leader of or the part of the Taliban and part of part of Al Qaeda and part of ISIS. He just led a violent revolution to overthrow the leader of Syria, and all the people in the deep state world were thrilled about that. But now we're worried about ISIS.
But I mean, if you see, I don't see a connection between the two attacks, to be really honest, with the information we have now. I think the capabilities are different, the motivations are different, the outcomes are different. Like I think the one in Las Vegas is a commentary on the state of politics in the United States.
By the way, there was somebody in the Cybertruck apparently.
Really?
Yeah, here I'll show you the video from the what is it? The California Fire Department. Like, tell me if you like interpret this the same way I'm interpreting it here. Keep saying what you were saying. I'm gonna send this to myself quick.
No, but I mean, let's see the common ground. Vegas, New Orleans, probably the two biggest party cities in the United States.
Oh, good point.
Is that a good assessment?
It is.
Okay, New Year's Eve is the biggest party of the year,
Right.
So, I mean, there's a connection there. Like,
It's like a tone setter for the year.
Yeah, there's a lot of cameras around. There's a lot of people walking around. There's a lot of people not paying attention and under the influence of alcohol and drugs. So if there was a day to do something like this, it was probably New Year's Eve.
Right. And it's like yeah, like we're gonna associate this with 2025 for like a good amount of time now, unless he gets memory hold. So here I'm pulling up this video right now from the Los Angeles Fire Department, and the guy, the way he words this, it makes it sound like there was somebody inside the truck, because 7 people were injured by this explosion, 1 person died. Oh, all right, guys, we have a special guest in the house. Brace yourselves. All right, so right here, this guy right here, this is one of my lifelong best friends. He's a veteran. He's a professional cook. He's a UFC fighter. I guess like more on the amateur level, amateur wrestling. Then a little more than amateur wrestling. Jack of many trades. One of my good friends, Camilio. How you doing, homie?
How are we going? What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I mean, good aside from the terrorist attacks that seem super sketchy.
Yeah, I've kind of been trying to keep up with it, and I actually just turned on Fox News to see what they were saying. And it's what I just got from a source. What they're saying, they're not really telling much right now. As far as New Orleans goes, it's quite interesting. Yesterday, I believe and don't quote me, but there was somebody who spoke publicly on the case, and they're like, this is not a terrorist attack. And then obviously shortly after, they were saying it was a terrorist attack.
Right.
And then, now they're saying they're not really willing to open up or share a lot due to the ongoing investigation. One of my buddies, actually from the military, he sent me a source over, through Instagram pages of other previous service members. But allegedly, I don't know how factual this is. The bomber was actually an 82nd guy.
The truck driver?
No. We're talking about, I believe not.
You're talking about Vegas or New Orleans?
Hold on, I'm checking here, double checking my sources.
You're talking about New Orleans, because the narrative went from he crossed the border 2 days ago. Fox News first said. Then they said, "Oh wait, no, he crossed the border in November." And then they said, "Oh wait, no, he was born in Texas and he served in the military."
Yes. That's the New Orleans bomber, right? Yeah. So that's what I just saw, and he was 82nd. It was actually a homemade jihad flag. Very, very weird.
They covered it right away. Like, why'd they cover it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I think it's very interesting. Obviously that's one of our
ISIS?
own. Yeah, one of our own going dark. You know what I mean, and going rogue. I guess there was a post about before it that he was gonna do something like this.
Yeah,
so it's very
the NSA spying on all the shit that we do is really working out well.
Yeah, and I mean, like, even right now, like they were just saying, it's actually, I'm very excited for when Trump comes along, because they're planning on cutting, making all the FBI agents actually work in the field. You know what I mean? Stop working so much about this diversity and all these things, and you have too many people that are at home or at their offices rather than being out in the field. I know if you saw, what's his name, Ryan Shaw's show, he just actually came out with a podcast not long ago, I believe like a day or two ago. Sean Ryan, yeah, with talking about how it is confirmed that there is multiple ISIS trained militia here in the United States that have either come through Saudi Arabia legally through visas or through the border. They have stated that there will be a 50,000, 60,000 casualty. So if this is known intelligence information, things like this is scary that it's even happened. It's gone under, under the radar, and it happened in New Orleans. And to be even, more scary is the fact that tomorrow is, what is it, the Orange Bowl tomorrow? No,
Sugar
not the
Bowl.
Sugar Bowl.
I think it got canceled or rescheduled.
Yes, Humberto, by the way, Camilo, he's on the phone. So
okay, what's
did it
going
get
on,
canceled
brother?
for that?
No, it got postponed for 24 hours. It's supposed to be tomorrow at 3:00. But that's to me, that is very alarming. I don't know what you think about it, sir.
Yeah, no, it's terrible for like our national pride, like the fact that we let some bullshit like this, change the way that we have to live our lives and the way we have to think day to day. Like, I always say, like the military, we know we get shafted by having to pay taxes for the defense budget. We know that they overpay for things, but like, don't you dare fucking have a lack of resources or a lack of expertise or a lack of technology compared to the other places if we're spending 10 times as much as the rest of the world on defense. And then same thing with the CIA and NSA. Like yeah, sure, we know, and unfortunately we know that we've come to accept that you're spying on us and you see everything we do. You have all of our data, but you have no fucking excuse in the world to miss shit like this, especially when the guy's posting it on social media. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, I think our government's the biggest fucking terrorist in the world.
I mean, how quickly after, they literally said the moment that everything happened, they had the guy, they quickly knew that he had posted on social media. You know what I mean? And so it's like, hold on. So you figure this out, an hour into post him doing this, and he's dead, and you couldn't have prevented it from happening. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I think it's so ass backwards. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you know that it was a possibility? And then afterwards say, yeah, it was suspicious. Okay, so why wasn't there someone tailing him? Yeah. You know what I mean? Why weren't you guys already looking? And it was supposedly several hours before the attack as well. So it's, I don't know. It's very.
That's like malpractice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like, it's worrying because tomorrow there's gonna be another event. Now they're saying there's other EIDs, and I'm like, oh, well, okay, sure, but
EIDs.
EIDs, yeah.
What's that?
Improvised explosive devices.
Oh, just planted around everywhere?
Yes. So they believe that that's what's going on. Allegedly, there was one in his truck that didn't go off. And that was kind of his plan, I guess. He was going to just, go off, suicide bomber type deal. But I don't know what are you going to run through the whole city now to look for other explosives? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really make sense to me. Now, if there is other people, you know what I mean? If there are other people involved, well, so you better have answers in the next couple of hours. You know what I mean? They said they had some people outside of his neighbor's house. They don't know if we're affiliated or not.
They're all posted up there right now. They're like there's like 30 police cars outside of his house in Houston right now.
Yeah, which it to me, it's like, is there somebody else? And I hate to say it. They were like, what is tomorrow's security measures? They're like, well, we can't really talk about it, but there, plenty of people are coming down from Washington and this and that. And I'm like, okay, but I hate to say it, but it's like, how much do you believe that? One, two, it's almost like I feel like a secondary attack will happen. It's happened multiple times when this is just like a distraction to something bigger. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, dude, we've had all these dudes coming across the border, filming themselves, talking shit, saying like, oh, you guys have no idea what's about to come. Like, that's been happening for 4 years. And like every day I've been shocked and thankful that nothing has happened. And like, it's almost like they had a kill switch where if things didn't go their way, they could activate it.
Yeah, well, I know several months ago there's reports about, even China, Middle Eastern men coming through military age, Venezuelans. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this was over the summer that they were putting out reports on this, and there was multiple people reporting on this, and they were saying they saw a trend change when it comes to people crossing the border, right? And it went from families, and then I remember they were reporting on it, and they were saying there was a lot more middle-aged men from different countries showing up, and so then.
China specifically, like China, just in the last year, it's been more than like the last 10, 20 years combined.
Exactly. So you have like a weird fluctuation of what's going on with this border, and I don't want to blame it all on just the Democrat Party, but this is the administration we're in, and it's almost like now this is something they're going to just pass off and try to taint Trump's next administration. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course, Democrats have not been, I didn't hear President Biden's speech on this. I think it was earlier today. I didn't bother really, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we just watched it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't watch. I really didn't bother. Usually there's no accountability, and usually it's always, we're going to figure this out. You know what I mean? Instead of saying, he don't hold anybody responsible. You know what I mean? Which is something we've seen something since Afghanistan.
It doesn't feel like a shred of sincerity.
No, nothing. So, and then now it's almost like it's going to get passed off to the next administration. You know what I mean? The shit show that could potentially happen at any moment.
It's going to be cleaned up. Like I'm just worried about, like, I think Trump needs to just literally stay in one place, like the safest place in the world for the next 19 days or whatever it is. Cause I think that the fact that they put a Cybertruck right under the Trump logo at his building, and making an iconic picture of a Tesla truck blowing up in front of the Trump sign. Like, what the fuck kind of a message is that? And that's not ISIS. ISIS is fucking gone. Like, bullshit. I'm 99% sure that nothing to do with ISIS, and the fact they're trying to push it makes me even stronger about that.
So if you kind of look at, I guess a lot of people get caught up and confused about ISIS, Al Qaeda, and Taliban, and whatever, right? And at one point, it was mainly Taliban, and then it was Al Qaeda, and then it was ISIS, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think people, it's almost like the way I could describe it to people, and the way I've learned to understand it is, sorry, I'm just the way I've been learned to understand it is, imagine the cartel, right? The Mexican cartel. You have different sectors, different territories, right? You have Jalisco, you have Sinaloa cartel, right? You have different sectors, right? And if you've seen the show Narcos, you've seen that. Excuse me. At one point, it was all one, and then it became all different sectors, right?
Yeah.
And
it's fractured.
What's that, sir?
It gets fractured over time. ISIS is not the same ISIS we're fighting there.
Exactly.
And they're fighting with each other now.
Yeah. And now you have almost like this extremist war of between Taliban, you know what I mean, between ISIS, and then now it's almost like, okay, you have Taliban almost not wanting to do anything because now they're our friends, right? After everything that's happened, we're sending them money and all that other bull crap that Biden's done with them, right? To try to keep peace. But now you have ISIS kind of flexing again, right? And it's kind of
pumped some money in there to help them overthrow Syria.
Yeah, exactly.
And weapons.
Exactly. So now it's like, okay, so they have ammunition, they have money, and it's almost like, okay, now they're going to do something, right? Now it's their turn. And I think, hopefully not. I pray not, and I hope President Trump is able to overturn a lot of things. But it's prime time. You know what I mean? It really is prime time. It's prime time in a sense that we're in a place where our three-letter agencies seem very corrupt.
Oh, I think they're the biggest terrorists. I think they're 10 times bigger of a terrorist than ISIS is. They created ISIS. They created ISIS. They created the Al Qaeda. Like, Al Qaeda was created to kind of beat up Russia and Afghanistan. Then ISIS was created to beat up Assad's regime in Syria. And it's like a win-win because they get to achieve that goal by weakening the regime they're trying to take out. And then once you take them out, it's like, oh, we gotta go fight this terrorist group now.
No, and it's almost like also like, how do you have somebody able to speak about it again, going back to Sean Ryan's show, and they're saying confirming intelligence. So if they could say that publicly, what else don't they know? You know what I mean?
Right.
So why isn't there other measures? Why is a Cybertruck allowed to pull up in front of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas and right in the center of the entrance? Why is that even allowed to happen? Right? It's like, not for nothing. I think we're very lucky that it was a Cybertruck, because that thing hanged on, and that thing's a tank. It's been proven now. You know what I mean?
Now that
but if it would have been another,
let me play this clip real quick because we were trying to figure out before. It's like by what the fire marshal says here, it sounds like there was somebody inside the truck potentially. So tell me if you're interpreting this the same way.
Go ahead, play. I'm gonna grab a charger real quick. 1 second.
Okay. Where'd this thing go? Let me grab this clip. So that is a good point because normally like that'd be like exactly where the valet is and everything, and like that'd be like the busiest spot to be right in front of the freaking like the doorway entrance. Like it's almost like it was like lined up for a picture.
Yeah, it's like why is a truck like if you literally like I said if you literally look at where it's at. Let's see here if I could. I got some images. I don't know if you would. A buddy of mine would just said that we were just having this conversation.
Fire Department
Here, listen to
responded this
this.
morning, along with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department and Las Vegas Fire and Rescue. We had a response time of approximately 4 minutes. Engine 12 arrived first on scene for the fire department to find a fully involved Tesla Cybertruck in the valet. They quickly began pulling tack lines to extinguish the vehicle fire, and also realized at the same time that there were multiple persons with injuries located around the vehicle. In total, as the sheriff said, there were 7 minor injuries, 2 of which were transported to UMC, again for minor injuries, and there is 1 fatality within the Cybertruck.
So yeah, what do you just say right there? Does that mean somebody was inside the truck?
Somebody was in the truck. So nobody. Hold on, I don't know if you just.
That's weird too.
Yeah. So nobody said anything to the guy that's in front of a Cybertruck in front of the building of Trump's hotel in a big ass Cybertruck. Nobody, right?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Now I sent you, and I think we've only seen these outdoor images. I don't know how if you could transfer.
Yeah.
And back to the point, like anyone that's been anywhere near a hotel, if you stay there for 5 minutes, like they will get on your case immediately.
Yes.
Yeah, like where's everybody else? Like, why is it so desolate too? Like, I would think it'd be popping on New Year's Day in front of like one of the biggest hotels. Like that's like the most high traffic spot normally in front of a hotel. Like that's in front of the main entrance. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm. It makes no sense. It's that. I mean, that should be around Trump Tower in New York. You know what I'm saying? That should be heightened security. No, I'm saying there should be everything that involves Trump, Mar-a-Lago.
Oh yeah,
Trump Tower, New York. After everything that's happened in 2024, should have heightened security.
Is this what you sent me?
Yes.
All right. What's this one?
That's how close right there. So that's an inside view from where the Tesla truck is, and that is literally right outside the door.
Oh shit!
Right there. Look.
Damn. What? It's like 7 feet away.
That's the door. That's right outside the door. Look.
Damn. That's
so you
insane.
mean to tell me that happened? That's sad.
No, it's like obstructing the doorway. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we need to see security footage of like when they were. Oh, that's another thing. Why has anybody hasn't shown security footage of when they got there, who got out of the car, nothing. Mm-hmm. And nobody's made a big deal out of the fact that somebody was inside that car. Like, who was that person? Mm-hmm. No, that's why I think this is all bullshit. And like the more they say ISIS, the more I get angry because this has our government's fingerprints all over it. Like whenever there's changing narratives and whenever there's conflicting things like
it's almost like they're trying
don't make sense.
No, try to almost complicate something and see what sticks with the public. You know what I mean?
Or just the fact that it's confusing, is enough to kind of throw you off the scent. Like when they like they'll throw something out on purpose and throw something out completely different. Like the drone thing, we still don't know what it was. We had one senator come out and say like, "Oh yeah, it's an Iran mothership," and then another one come out and said, "Yeah, it's definitely China." And then one said, we have no idea what it is.
I don't know. I look at all these things and I talked to a couple buddies and with the drone things, I was like, listen, let's not forget that Biden just pardoned 20, 30 people. I forget the exact number.
From 9/11?
What? No, he just pardoned.
Oh, pardon.
20 to 30 people for the crimes committed or not, or what is it? Charged or not charged for the last 20 years. So right after he pardoned his son, he came out. Look, hold up. Let me look it up. So I could be.
I heard too that he changed like a death penalty sentence for people that were like involved in 9/11 to just life in prison.
I don't know. I didn't hear about that. But see, again, there was. Hold on.
But it's like, why? Like, what the fuck is your motive to do that?
Here we go.
You sending it to me?
30. Yeah, I'm.
Oh, you don't have to read it.
No, it'd probably be better for you to read it.
Okay.
Hold up.
So what's the basic narrative of it?
So he pardoned pretty much 39 people, 39 pardons, and 1,499 commutations. Which, to be honest, I really don't know what that is. Hold up, let me see here. I'll send it to your phone.
Oh, so there was a guy taken into custody from Houston, Texas. That was, I guess, involved or associated with the guy that did the thing in New Orleans.
That's the latest update right now.
Yeah, from that one, and then in Vegas, there's still like an ongoing hostage situation. I don't believe a single fucking thing these people say.
So, do you remember when those drone things started to pop off?
The what?
It was like early December, right?
No, November, like mid-November.
Early? No, I'd say
Yeah,
late.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then, right, we were in the middle of all that still, and then this comes out, and I'm gonna send it to you. Right. There was a little news on how Biden pardoned his son, right? And then out of nowhere, it was like hyper focused on all of these drones and everything. And then in the midst of that, which I saw, was he pardoned 39 people.
So you understand, like it was a distraction?
Yeah, it's just weird. It's almost like he just slid that. Now, I haven't read all the pardons, but it's almost weird. It's like his son gets pardoned, drones. He comes out with a list of 39 people he's pardoned. You know, he's going to pardon.
All right. So
this is a straight document from the White House as well.
So, 49-year-old woman who's convicted of nonviolent offense. Are there any like crazy names on here? Like people like he has no business pardoning?
Allegedly, what I had heard was yes. Allegedly, there was some staff members from him. I haven't looked at it. Like I said, it was just all during that time. I was going through school, and I really had no time to look at any of this. But
yeah, well, he has like one of the highest pardon rates of all time. Yeah, I gotta look into this because I heard another thing too about like 9/11 people that he was like removing life sentences from, which is insane. So,
yeah, I had seen a thing where they were saying that now they were going to pressure him to pardon even Fucci and other people before Trump was going to come
pardon.
in. Yeah, and then essentially it was kind of like, well, you just pardoned your son, so now you owe us. But I guess I don't know if that's it. I'm going to look for this. Like I said, there was one, like I said, he came out with right after his son. And no, this was December 37th. I don't know. Anyways, so it was kind of like, what was it, Luciano? It was almost like when there's shady shit going on, the government and the news media right away are trying to throw something else at you. There's another focus.
They're pushing you in a direction.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, a lot of people got caught up. I mean, conversations is having all over the place. It's like, oh, aliens, it's finally coming out. And I'm like, dude, you're being distracted, right? There's something else going on. Kind of, you know, me and you have previously had this conversation. You know, in my experience, when I was in the military, I can't talk about this. I never had this on NDA on the way out, but I wasn't part of the exit of Afghanistan. But on my end, I was working ops, and I was on the back end of it. And what I was hearing on the news versus what I was hearing directly what was going down on ground zero in the exit Afghanistan was literally probably the news was reporting about 10%, right?
Really?
I remember, the night of or the morning of the explosion, the news are like, it's like 79 degrees tonight in Afghanistan and all this crap. And meanwhile, I have other buddies that, are telling me, dude, this, we've been shot at overhead, you know what I mean? There's been whispering, shots whispering by. I had a buddy, told me later on, they're like, dude, we had to hit the ground. You know what I'm saying? None of that of which was reported. It wasn't really up until after the bomb went off, you saw a shift in the news media. And even when they shifted over to telling a little more of what actually was going on, they still only gave you 20%. And I think after that, on my end of that experience was, well, oh crap. I was like, one thing is you grow up and you're like, oh, don't trust the media, don't trust the media. They come out with bull crap and whatnot.
Yeah.
But another thing was to live it, right? Was to actually live it. And in the end, all of it's still not being reported. You know what I mean? Now there is some people that will argue, will say, hey, well, the truth is that the majority of America can't handle the truth, right? There's parts and things that we do as military and government, that parts that shouldn't be told every single move. 100%, I would agree that, right? But I still think as investigative journalism goes and news media, you should be trying to put out as much as you can truthfully. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Non-biased, no matter what, right? I mean, that's the whole point of it. But that's clearly not the case. It's
Oh, no, good. I just seen a lot of people are bringing up the whole Mossad and Israel angle for this. Like that's one of the more dangerous angles to talk about. But I don't know, what do you think about the notion of Israel trying to kind of expand in the Middle East and like being aggressive with the countries around it for that reason? Like, some people make the argument that maybe they wanted this to happen with Syria. Maybe they wanted the thing that happened with Iraq. Maybe they're pushing us towards Iran now. Do you hear any stuff like that?
No, I mean, I think there's certain rabbit holes you could what if every situation, right?
The patch they wear on their military gear.
No, I have not. No.
Berta, you want to tell them about the patch they wear?
I'm not gonna speak on it.
Oh my God.
He's like, you know what? Yo, keep me out of this one. He's like, I'm gonna step back on this one.
All right, I'll pull up a picture.
Oh my God. I think my connection is good. My connection.
You want me to just ignore all the people that are asking about in the chat?
Hold on one second.
I was just checking out Twitter, and apparently the battery pack on the Cybertruck didn't explode.
Did not?
No.
Wow.
What I'm reading now is that it actually contained the blast in the back of the truck. That is pretty amazing.
Yeah. That's insane.
Talk about an ad for a truck.
Jeez, that thing's a tank.
Like, and if you look at the videos now that you know that, blast went off, and the windows, I mean the doors that were made out of glass didn't go boom. So that is pretty crazy.
It actually gave it 20% plus charge on it.
But yeah, apparently it directed most of the blast to the roof, and it saved the structure surrounding the truck. So yeah, that is crazy.
It's insane. It's like almost indestructible.
Remember where they
watch, like you could still drive it.
Oh man,
that'd be nuts.
That'd be like the greatest commercial ever.
They hit the home button. It starts driving home.
Do we still know that if there was a guy inside the truck or not?
No, yeah, we did. What were you doing when we talked about that? The fire chief said it.
Yep.
Is he alive? Is he...
Hell no.
No. So allegedly, there was one person dead, and that was him, or the actual the suicide bomber guy, whatever you want to call him. No, that Brandon. I'll show you a picture.
Do we know that
I don't know if
Of
you've
what?
seen this.
You want
Actually,
dark?
what was all the exposed? I just sent it to your phone.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you wanna post who allegedly was the guy from New Orleans? Has there been public photos of that yet, or no?
Yeah, his name's out.
Yeah, right. Okay.
The Shabab guy or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they just got another guy. They had like an army tank roll up to his house in Texas. I just saw that on X. You see that, Humberto?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, see, I'm like seeing all this stuff, and it'll be like 5 hours old. I'm like, old news, but like there's so much coming out that I guess not everybody's seeing it. That's a valid point.
A tank rolled to his house.
Not through his house, but like a tank was like in his driveway, or like a not a tank, but like a serious army vehicle.
So, real quick? Sorry to interrupt you guys. So it was an FBI agent who actually said that it was not a terrorist attack. By the way, and this is what.
Oh, is that what you sent me?
No. I'll send you the one that I'm talking about right now.
I'm pulling up the Houston thing. All right, here we go. Yeah, this is kind of crazy.
All right, it's big wild. It's big wild. Let's see.
Oh, you're talking about that young chick who's talking?
Yeah, she was one of the ones that I was trying to say it wasn't. And
that wasn't a terrorist?
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, so here's the Houston thing real quick. So where is it? Oh, let me read it. Local Houston media drones show a man surrendering to FBI at a suspected ISIS cell in Houston, responsible for New Orleans terrorist attack. How sad that on New Year's Day, et cetera, et cetera. You guys see this up there? Do I have it up?
Yep.
Okay. So there he is. And then, yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about.
He's like, holy shit, I'm fucked.
But I mean, that's pretty standard equipment for SWAT teams all across America.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
That it's pretty standard.
I mean, it looks intense.
They've been actually buying a lot of armored vehicles, like local police departments.
Because we make so many of them that we don't use. So yeah, apparently more people are being arrested for that stuff. And then there was like a weird thing before where the police like randomly starts like bolted out of the spot in New Orleans, and like I guess there were more guys they were trying to chase or something. I mean, I don't know, like it's so easy to make a patsy out of somebody. Like I just have such little trust in this. Here, I'll play the one that you sent now. I'll go to Benny Johnson's account. What is this broad saying?
Investigative lead for this event. This is not a terrorist event. What it is right now is their improvised explosive devices that was found, and we are working on confirming if it's a viable device or not. As Chief Kirkpatrick said, we're asking everyone to stay away from Bourbon Street, specifically from Canal Street to St. Anne. That is my ask. Once again, stay away from Bourbon Street, Canal Street, all the way to St. Anne. until we can figure out what is going on. Our goal is to provide you additional information at the 11 a.m. press conference. Kirkpatrick said we'll be taking over the investigative.
Okay.
Which is crazy to me. It's like, why would you
The
even
FBI's
bother
taking
saying?
over?
No, why would you bother saying it's not a terrorist attack? Why would you be like? Why wouldn't you just be like, oh, at this time we don't know if it's a terrorist attack or not? You know what I mean? Like, why would you just go ahead and say this is not a terrorist attack?
And why'd she say that? Because I mean, I agree with her. I think it was a like a
I think it
government.
was a lone wolf. You know what I mean? Somebody that was used by the government.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so she's kind of like accidentally being transparent. But so
yeah, like ready. I'm gonna read you this guy's resume. Hold on. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Yeah.
Jabbar is an American citizen, 42, from Texas. He served in the United States Army Reserve 10 plus years. His LinkedIn profile was deleted. So current job, information technology chief at U.S. Army Reserve. Previous job,
he was legit in the Army.
Yeah, so he was legit in there. He was an information technology team leader at the U.S. Army Reserve, information management officer in the U.S. Army, senior information systems specialist at the U.S. Army, human resource supervisor in the Army, human resource specialist at the U.S. Army, data entry operator. So a lot of data and information, right? Data entry operator at U.S. Army Corps engineers, data entry. Now, I will say some of these they're probably more basic jobs, and they just make it sound more sexy. I will say that. You know what I mean?
What are the odds that it was definitely this guy and he's not becoming the patsy?
I don't know. Graduate from the U.S. Army.
There's pictures of him, after
there and dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I sent you just now the picture where actually he's on the ground and he's actually wearing his uniform, which kind of pisses me off. But yeah.
Oh wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah, that's from one page called Northern Provisions.
Yeah, I'm pulling that up. That's really. He wore his U.S. military gear.
Yeah,
that is.
It's kind of sick.
Oh man.
Yeah, it pisses me off.
We should is he whatchamacallit, Islamic?
I'm trying to read and see. I'm not. He's. I don't think there's any information.
This photo, the guy said, this photo is making its rounds around on-set pages, back channels alleging to show perpetrator. The man's wearing multi-cam pants on top of ripped open, as well as plate carrier of some kind. It appears he has gray beard, short hair, blah, blah, blah. Sorry for the blurring, blah, blah, blah. So was he definitely wearing his military gear, or is he just wearing camo shit?
I don't know.
It's all up in the air?
It's all up in the air. I mean, could have been store-bought, or could have been issued gear. I mean, they're not going to say that. I mean,
did you watch the video of him driving around the barrier?
Yeah, and then all the officers chasing after him.
Yeah, so I mean, that's why I think that the lady who's running that police department should go to jail. Because I mean, it's her fault. So
there's certain things about security, man, that as much as well as you want to plan out, you're not going to be able to perfectly do it. You know what I mean?
Yes, but I can't imagine things that out there in the world that are more simple than like seeing a 20-foot space that a car definitely can't let a car go by, or it's going to kill everybody in the space, and making sure that part's blocked off. From what it looked like, they put a car in front of it, but not enough to where a car couldn't go around the car in front of it.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
So fuck that lady. That old bitch should go to jail.
Yeah.
She came from Oakland. She came from Washington State. Both those places are disasters. So I don't know if she's like that's her thing. She just goes to places and runs them badly. But I've been seeing way too many women in leadership in the police department speaking today, and they're all around shit that's falling apart. So I'm not a fan of that either. So I'm going to show you this clip real quick of how the narrative changed throughout the day today. I played this one earlier, but I don't think everybody saw it because I played it right at the beginning.
Public Works. Okay, listen to this. They were upgrading.
So it shows how there's like 3 different things being said.
I think Cam dropped.
Did he?
There it is.
He's back?
Yeah, back.
Okay. I'm looking for this video. Where is this thing? Oh, here it is. You're saying before.
I don't know why.
No, I'm just going through the list. Okay, intent, motivation for the attack that happened in New Orleans. All right, it's pretty religious, you know, because he had the ISIS flag. Then it's gonna take a few days to see any evidence of planning or preparation. Like we wouldn't know until like 2 or 3 days, if we know. Physical evidence. You have the truck there. You have his the body. What else and whatever is inside the truck. What else do we have? Nobody has claimed responsibility yet. So nobody has claimed it yet. Usually within the first few hours, one of the terrorist organizations will claim the attack. And then we have a lot of witnesses. I think people will come forward and talk about it. And then we have clear security breaches because like everyone knew that there was going to be a party there. Like that's the biggest party street in America, like year round.
Perpetrator who went
So
around
you might be
our
onto something, Brandon.
What's up?
You might be onto something that's not the level of security you need to the street. Like if any street in America we knew there was going to be a party, would have been that street.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, like you just need 2 cars there instead of 1 car. You just need to like not leave enough space for a car to get by, and then everybody would have been safe.
So real quick, one of the guys commented, GB says, so this guy was probably never been in real combat. Yeah, absolutely, brother. He was definitely a pogue. He was data, information, all that good stuff. So yeah, he was definitely up at S1, S2, whatever, and he was saying comfortable with that. So he definitely has no combat experience. And we should probably say thank God so that, because it probably would have been a lot worse if he actually had combat experience. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. And so that makes you wonder real quick before I play this. Is that like a thing that they're actively worried about at any given time in the military, of like people getting radicalized by like other extremist groups?
It's not necessarily. I don't think it's like a active worry. It's not. He's not the first person. You know what I mean? Guys who served in Iraq and came back. There was guys who, went off the rails and probably did shit.
This could be fucking MK Ultra.
Yeah,
like especially dudes with PTSD or something. Not that like you said, he probably wasn't in combat, but like
he
mentally fragile people. Those are the easiest MK Ultra.
He could have. I mean, is there a factor that says this guy maybe served, knew whatever, and he was like, you know what? For whatever reason in his brain, he thought, you know what, we were the evil ones and we were killing, ISIS for no reason, and I'm gonna kill on behalf of them. Sure, I mean that's not a crazy statement to make. I think it happens. You know what I mean? There's guys who go to war, come back, and they're like, were we the good guys? Or were we not? Right? Happened all throughout Iraq. I mean, I remember back in the day, Netflix was full of military documentaries there in 2009, 2010. After a couple of years, once Iraq war had been going on, and you had guys talking about it. You know what I mean? There's plenty of books where, guys were talking about like, oh, we were the evil ones, blah, blah, blah. I believe when Bush, one of Bush's not inaugural speech, what is State of the Union address, and during one of them, there's an Iraq veteran that went off in the middle of one of them talking about we're evil, you're evil, you know what I mean? We don't deserve to kill him or something like that. They had to get the guy off the floor or something like that.
I can't remember that. He got escorted out.
Yes. You remember that, right? It was I want to say it was during
He
Bush.
was a Marine.
Yes. I do want to say that, yeah. And so it's not uncommon. You know what I mean? It's not uncommon.
We'll talk about choosing the wrong target if you feel that way. Like, I mean, if you're pissed off about what our military did and what you had to do on their behalf, like you're gonna go after random citizens instead of going after somebody who's responsible for that.
Yeah, you literally went after people who are just out
have
there
nothing to do with
partying,
it.
literally partying. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
So
very ass backwards, very very ass backwards.
yeah, if those are the only two options I have, like between him being radicalized by ISIS or being MK Ultra by the CIA, I'd feel pretty comfortable, like damn near betting my life that it'd be the CIA rather than ISIS. Like, because I don't think
Oh,
ISIS could
Brandon,
convince people to do shit right
Brandon,
now. What the fuck is ISIS convincing people to do? Nothing.
There's kids in Germany, like normal German kids, that grab their parents' credit card and book a flight to Damascus to get trained for ISIS. All right.
Why? That's how bad it is in Germany.
No, I mean it's bad everywhere, Brandon.
There's radicals all over the place.
Yeah, you have a generation of men, that have no prospects, no economic opportunities. Society has, turned their back on them. They don't have a girlfriend, they don't have a house, they don't have a job. They watch a few, radical videos online, and they're like, "Oh, here there's a purpose. There's a fight I can take part. There's brotherhood." What do you think people join gangs like, the Bloods, the Crips? They want brotherhood. They want, being amongst other men they respect, and that's why they tap into them. Like.
So ISIS is the best form of brotherhood that people in Germany could find.
No, there's interpretations of how they take it. There's the lone wolves, I'm sorry. Tell me your name one more time.
Humberto.
Sergio, Alberto,
Sergio.
What was it?
Oh shit, yeah, Humberto.
Huh?
His name is Humberto.
Humberto
with an H.
No, it ain't.
What do you mean? No, it ain't.
It is with an H.
Yeah.
Why are you gonna
never
have
heard,
some like South American beef about it?
I've never heard that shit.
Well,
chill it. Oh, Humberto. He's Colombian, by the way, Humberto.
Sorry. But
So
Brandon,
maybe some beef here.
I mean, now back to the point. Listen to me. You see radicalization in the streets of America. Kids that they have no other chances, and they will join a gang. And they will do gang things, and gang killings and running drugs and this and that. And this guy, he probably turned to ISIS. You don't need a psyop to.
Yeah, but like you go into the military, you have brotherhood there, and then you turn to ISIS. So what went wrong?
Brother, a lot could happen. If I'm not wrong, there was a documentary again on Netflix, and it was somewhere in Europe, and this lone wolf just went out and just whacked some people. And once they got into his computer and everything, what's the word for when they always look for the letter that they leave? What's that word?
The suicide note.
Yeah,
but
but
the manifesto.
The manifesto. They looked at his manifesto and all that, and they backtracked him into discords, and it's just Islamic extremist groups, and they kind of get infiltrated through the religion, and then they go into the extreme side of it. Not necessarily are they even told that, hey, go do this. They act upon themselves, on behalf of Allah or jihad, whatever. And it's not necessarily even ISIS directly told them, hey, you got to do this. Some people just lose it, dude.
The thing is, and you're super right, Cam. There's like Islam in general. There's jihad, that is a holy war, and it's an open letter to anyone that wants to, fight a holy war for Islam. All right. So you need a nicest person to tap you in the shoulder. You can have your own reasoning.
So what's the sales pitch, though?
Your life is worthless. You're not doing anything of importance. There's no transcendental truth. There's no future. So you might as well take one for the team and free the world from anything that goes against Islam.
And what, the whole virgins in heaven thing? If you go out, yeah, but like think of how broken somebody has to be to believe that shit.
Oh, brother, you'd be
a lot of
surprised.
broken people.
You'd be surprised.
All right, tell me.
I'm trying to look up what I was talking about.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's definitely like a systematic failure of like a whether it's school or media or like just things that bring people together in like a brotherhood type of way, like organizations and stuff and recreational things that like where people have to look to these like this criminal shit or this terrorist shit to like feel like they're part of something important. 'Cause, I mean, I think that's what depression is like the lack of feeling like you're doing something purposeful.
That's what it is, Brendan.
Yeah.
And this is a very
You
clearly
become a terrorist and you feel important.
Yeah, this is a very clearly stated purpose for someone that is at the end of the line, you know?
I mean, there's plenty of problems to fix though. Like if you want to feel like you're like doing something, I mean, like I feel like even if you're totally lost in life, like you can't have complete certainty that the ISIS guy is on the right side of things, but you could have complete certainty that if you're like helping charities or something, then yeah, you're doing something for the greater good.
But people can get radicalized or can have radical
Or
views on a bunch of
brainwashed.
politics. Like for example, Brandon, the eco-terrorist, you know, like the Unabomber.
Yeah. Or like what Russia did to Germany, where they did the whole oil propaganda thing, and they got Germany to like shut down all their oil pipelines, and then Russia had the only pipeline that fed Germany.
No, but I'm talking about people,
just eco-terrorists.
Yeah, like there's guys in Europe that will, you know, super glue their hands to a highway and cut traffic.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, what was it? What? All right, I graduated 2014, 2 years later. So 2016. Do you remember that big pipe in Nevada? Which I think it was going to go all the way up to Alaska, but the big thing that it was going through Native American lands, and then like all the Native Americans got together and all tribes, and then you saw multiple people from all over the place joining in. Do you remember that?
Say it again.
Yeah, it was 2016. I want to say it was 2016. And everybody got together, and people from all walks of life, and you know, you had the Native Americans come together, and you don't remember this?
No,
there was people strapping themselves in, making traffic, doing all sorts of things. And hold on, I'm gonna.
What year was that?
2016.
People strapping themselves in on the highway, you said?
No, strapping themselves to the pipe and things like that, like the.
Oh yeah, I remember
to deliver.
The image of that's in my head, but I'm not like associating it with the time.
Yeah, so I knew people who went to that. Yeah, it was 2016 Native American protest.
Didn't you get involved in like an oil protest?
Yeah. The Dakota Access Pipeline. Well, so background for me on that.
Well, that's a good example, actually, of like how you could kind of like buy in on something.
Yes, that's what I'm going to kind of go down that rabbit hole. So, 2014, right after high school, I was kind of going down the route, I would say, almost you could say a hippie, right? Very much so. During that time, especially after high school, I was very, very against Trump. You know what I mean? I think at that time, the Latino community in general was very, very afraid of Trump, right? But we also just came off Obama promising the world and the skies, and he gave us the Dreamers Act, sure, but he also didn't finalize a path to citizenship even for the Dreamers, right? And I have family members who are Dreamers, and actually, when Trump was running was actually when I was in Omega Center for Holistic Studies in New York. And I was just kind of lost at that point in life, you know what I mean? An identity, trying to figure out religion, what I wanted, what my purpose was in life. And I went down Transcendentalism, Ralph Waldo, Emerson. I went down Buddhist route. I went down Hinduism and chanting and meditating and kirtan and all these different things. I was part of what was it? It was a sweat lodge. You know what I mean? All these different things. And in the middle of all that, you know what I mean? I had connected with myself with people who had been part of Greenpeace, who had been, they were deep in the roots of protesting.
Yeah.
And we ended up in upper state New York. There was a pipe that was being built, and we went and protested it. You know what I mean? And we did. And I remember I was there, and I was just like, all right, dude, like had, the
What was that
cardboard box.
experience like? Like, what kind of shit are people saying you to get to the protest? What are they saying when they're there? Like, what's the chant and everything? What are the signs saying?
So to be honest, I'm actually trying to remember, but
is that where they're like taping themselves to shit or something?
No. So one of my buddies actually was one of the people, and him and 4 others actually strapped themselves inside of the pipe one night, and it was like a black ops thing. Like they had getting ready, and then they stayed there. I think it was like he asked for a couple of days off from work, and my boy was like, I mean, he is like through and through, liberal and protesting, and he'd been arrested all throughout the country.
All throughout the country? Protest all throughout,
he protested walks. He'd walk from like California to like one side of the United States to the other in protest of whatever, you know what I mean? And
I'd love to talk to him. It's like, oh yeah, there's a protest for somebody everywhere.
Oh yeah. He and actually why I brought up the whole Native American thing, he was one of those people that just went and he was just like, I have a calling. I feel like I have to go protest. These sacred layers. So that's what I'm saying.
That's a way of feeling important or like a sense of purpose, I guess. Yeah,
exactly. So and he's in the circle and he knew people who were there and things like that. But I remember specifically we ended up after that protest because I was with him and one other guy that came with us. We hung out with this couple after the protest. I mean, these people were like funded and right hand to the Clintons.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like they were high up there in protesting.
Mm-hmm.
So when you kind of see things like that, me, right? I was just looking for a purpose in life, figuring out who I was. And I joined up to protest. No pressure. I was 20 years old, fully immersed in the hippie lifestyle, right? And then you could say, listen, like literally, a lot of people would say, they're like, how do you go from being this hippie, chanting, meditating, you know what I mean? And then go off into the military, right?
Mm-hmm.
I always knew I wanted to go into the military, and the way I look at it, I wanted to see the other side too, though, right? I believe there's always 2 sides to every story, right? And after I joined the military, I came to understand more of how the world actually operates. You know what I mean? I got to be part of the military, industry complex, and it was different. It was very different, very, very, very different culturally. 2 opposite ends, right? And
a group of protesters and a group of hardened military people.
Yeah, 100%. And then, I think, and this might be going too much down the rabbit hole, so feel free to rail me back.
I'm waiting. I assumed you're doing the weave like Trump says. I'm assuming you're going to bring it back full circle at some point.
Yeah, Trump,
weave it up.
So as far as lone wolves, it can happen to anybody, man, right? When it comes to lone wolves, it could be anybody for any reason, right? You're having a midlife crisis. You're having an identity crisis. Post-military, right? If this guy was active duty and then now he's reserves, for military, a lot of us struggle after we get out, right? For me, myself, for the first year was the hardest year of my life.
Do you think it's being separated from that brotherhood that's the hardest part?
Yes, exactly. You like even there's been Navy SEALs who I've talked about when they get out, they're working regular jobs and, you're no longer risking your life, right? You're no longer, I don't know, you're working at fucking Amazon packaging shit, right?
And so slow.
And you're like, what the fuck am I doing with my life, right? And then you have some guys that, you know, might have seen some shit, been part of some shit, and know some shit, and they're like struggling with it, struggling to understand it. And then they want to go in depth and look at more of the who did I kill, you know what I mean, or who were we killing, and maybe they go and they start off as diving into it as through Islam, you know what I mean, and then next thing you know they go into the extreme side, and that doesn't necessarily need the CIA to tap into, right? That could happen just by itself, dude, just by itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, they're
And
vulnerable people regardless, and I mean, like vulnerable people are.
But I think this is a very worthwhile rabbit hole, and you know, like I think Cam telling his experience, it's very valuable to understand the motivations behind a guy that will do something like this. In this, you know, in this modern society, values and purpose, they're liquid. They flow. Nothing really means anything. I'm gonna get the latest pair of Nike shoes and place a few bets on, you know, the weekend's game, and that doesn't fill anyone up. You know, I'm personally I'm a Christian, and you know that's my sense, that's my calling, that's my sense of purpose. But you know, society is moving away from religion, and there's spaces in your soul that you can't fill with buying more stuff, and you can't fill with more girlfriends, and you can't fill with more cars. And you know, I chose Christ, and but some people will choose the environment, some people will choose Muhammad. And it's having a deep understanding that humans are way more than, you know, a bag of bones and skin that are in this earth for 100 years, or you know, like 70 years on average. And I think not everything needs to be explained with psyops, you know, Brandon. And at least, you know, the case for New Orleans, I'm pretty positive because it was a very simple attack. It didn't need any special equipment. It's a car. You know, most Americans have access to a car. He acted alone, from what we know now. And then, you know, like we've seen multiple occasions of lone wolves with the excuse of, you know, doing jihad, doing similar attacks. Now, the one in Vegas in front of the Trump Tower, that's way different. You know that.
Yeah, it's a total different beast. It's a total different beast. Mm-hmm.
And I think conflating both of them, that's the narrative they want.
So you think it's a coincidence they happened on the same day?
Brandon, I said it, like New Year's Eve is the biggest year for people being outside partying. Most of them distracted or under the influence of alcohol and drugs. Then you have the two biggest party cities in America, that is New Orleans and Vegas. So you're gonna have the most people, the most distracted.
But Vegas was a dud, though. It only killed the person who was inside the car.
But how do you? That's the other thing. Like the purpose of terror is not always killing people. Sometimes it's making a point. I think it was highly symbolic. It made a very powerful statement to have Elon Musk's Cybertruck sitting aside of a Trump Tower. You know, there's a message. You know, I don't know if you watch. Obviously, you watch Godfather. You know when they leave a horse heads on the bed.
Yeah,
that's symbolic. You know.
What?
Even what you're talking about, Alberto, was my buddy even said, you know, I was talking to him and he was like, he states this, he says, you know, it seems more of a statement with being a rented Tesla in front of Trump Tower. Seems more calculated than the guy just running his fucking car and trying to say how many people could I fucking hit. You know what I mean?
To create that picture.
Yes, it's way more calculated. It doesn't feel like it was it doesn't give me a lone wolf as much as the guy in New Orleans just going and driving through, you know, some people. You know what I mean? This one just seems like, okay, I'm doing it, sending a message. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a rented car as well. You know what I mean? So it's like it can't be traced. You know what I mean?
You can't be traced.
I mean, if they do it right, it's going to be hard to trace it back. You know what I mean?
I would think that since it's a Cybertruck, like it'd be super easy to trace because I'm pretty sure there's like cameras in the car and like you know everything about the driver in that car. And if he rented it, I would think that he would have to give him something to show who he is.
Yeah, credit card, a driving license.
Yeah.
It was done through the Turo app.
But they haven't released anything on him yet.
Oh, wait,
though.
Elon did shit on Turo. He said
that?
both. I forgot about that. He said perhaps you should look into Turo because both the truck that was rented that ran through the New Orleans people and the Cybertruck were both rented through Turo.
I think that's horse crap because the
horse
thing
crap.
Yeah, the thing is, if you want to get your hands on a Cybertruck, the only way to rent a Cybertruck right now, because there's no Cybertruck fleets on Avis or Hertz or whatever, the only way to get your hands on one, it would be through Turo.
Oh wow, really?
So why is it bullshit?
Well, because I don't think there's a relation. Like it's the most popular way to rent a car, like to rent a specific car, is Turo. Like there's no other way to do it.
Well, I'm interested to see who was driving that car and who the person that died inside that car was, because I haven't heard like one peep about that yet. We know plenty about the other guy. We haven't heard shit. Like we haven't we only heard a blip of a mention of like the person that died being like the person that was inside the car, which is weird to me. And it's like the fire chief was just saying it because like that's like the way you speak when things like this happen. Like, but the media and law enforcement have been weirdly quiet about the person dying inside that car.
And that's the other thing, Brandon. I thought of something else when you said that he wasn't effective by not killing people. I don't know if you remember last year, I think it was a Marine or someone from the Navy that set himself on fire in front of the Israeli embassy. I don't know if you guys.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Mm-hmm, all right.
Mm-hmm.
So
I briefly do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's run a few plays forward. All right. This is a victimless terror attack. Okay, there wasn't any people aside from the person committing the attack dead on site. So if you're someone that is against Donald Trump and against what Elon Musk and America First stands for, not having any victims can elevate the person. Because imagine, let's run a few plays forward. Let's say we have a name, John Doe. He planned the whole thing, make sure that nobody was going to get killed, and John Doe can be raised to a hero or a martyr. This happened with the guy that killed the CEO from United Health. People are getting tattoos of the guy in their legs, and they have candles. When the guy burned himself alive in front of the embassy, he also got martyr and hero status. So if we get a name from this guy, it might elevate him to something else. He could be the head of a cause. Like I'm 100% sure that the left will celebrate someone doing this.
We don't need his name. We just need like where he came from and what he did.
But that being no victims, there's an advantage to whoever stands behind this madness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's an interesting perspective. That could be the case, but it's just like there's been crickets around that guy.
So essentially, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're stating is, if it ends up being that the one in front of Trump Tower was a jihadist or ISIS, by not reporting and not saying his name, you're also taking away power from them, right?
Yeah.
So now they also have to publicly come out and say, "Oh, it was us." But right now, you're
making him a ghost.
You're slowing down the movement and the little momentum they could be having and what they want. You know what I mean? And they want to continue to install fear.
That's why the space that we're in when it comes to trust with our intelligence agencies is so dangerous. It's so dangerous because if they don't give the full information with the name and everything, people won't trust them. People go like, "Oh, they're hiding things. It's half the story." But I think the responsible thing would be to not release the name so we don't have any more copycats, or we don't get this guy venerated for making a Cybertruck explode in front of a hotel in Las Vegas. You know what I mean?
But why'd they give the name of the other guy? Like just because it was unavoidable?
Because I think it got leaked.
Yeah, I guess it's it's just theories at this point. I'm sure we'll know a shit ton more tomorrow. But I guess to wrap it up for tonight, I guess let me know where you guys are at with like both these situations, like where like your odds are in terms of it being our own deep state versus like just what they say it is, and where you think this is gonna go. Camilo. deep state or actual terrorists?
I'm right now more and more on an actual terrorist. I hate to say it, but I think we'll see a little bit of that this year. I think this is the beginning of it. Now, whether Trump is successful in using intelligence the right way and stopping a lot of this crap from happening, I think will be the X factor. But I do think this is the beginning of more. Again, a big reputable guy is Ryan Shaw, and that
You
that
said it
was,
wrong again. No.
I always fucking say it wrong. What is it? What is it? What is it?
Sean Ryan.
Sean Ryan. There it is. I always say it
Did
back.
you call him Ryan Shaw?
Yeah. Sean Ryan. Sean Ryan. He very reputable, and he even went out and commented or Twitter and tweeted that he was speaking about this, that he just mentioned this 2 days ago. Now, I do pray I'm wrong. I do pray that we're able to nip this on the butt and stop it from happening. The fact that ISIS is claiming to say that there'll be 40 to 50,000 Americans dead. I pray that doesn't happen. That's a lot of innocent lives to die. But I do think there will be more attempts, and I don't think if people are like, "Oh, here we go, we're going to go back into the Middle East." Nah, man, I don't think that's going to happen. If it happens to be ISIS members that are doing this, Daddy Trump's coming, and he'll show them the picture again. You know what I mean? Keep this shit up, and we know where you're at. So I'm not afraid about us jumping into another war. In a sense, us funding, and you kind of talked about this earlier, kind of about the whole Israel thing. Us funding Israel is also us fighting Middle East still.
Oh yeah. Well, I think they care a little bit more about than we do, and some might argue that they really, really want us to help out with Iran.
Yeah.
Guys, real quick, I'm at like 100 subscribers away from 100,000 subs, so we have more than 100 people watching right now. So if you're not subscribed, subscribe and like this. Help the dude out. I want to hit this before the end of the year, and now it's past the end of the year. So live to fight another day. We're gonna do this in like a day or two, but let's make it happen right now. If you haven't subscribed, Berto, final thoughts?
Yeah, this is where I'm at with both things. All right, we won't take the New Orleans Bourbon Street attack as an ISIS organized attack unless their spokesperson claims the attack. Like, I won't believe anyone else but the designated, because they have a spokesperson, the designated ISIS spokesperson. And I will need to know what faction of ISIS they are under, and I need to know the whole information coming straight from the source from ISIS. Then for the Vegas, Trump Tower attack, I believe this has all the markings of a far left extremist that is trying to make a point about Trump and Elon Musk trying to fix this country in the next 4 years. And then if they both get conflated, if they get rolled up into one thing, I have another theory, but that will have to wait for the next show.
All right. So I obviously totally disagree. I think that it's laughable, the notion that this guy was radicalized by ISIS, the guy that was in New Orleans. I think that we don't know shit about him yet. I think that what we do know is that anytime that the facts change this quickly, like when we go from saying that he definitely came from across the border, that he was born in America and he's from the military, that he went around the barrier, that there was no barrier, that he went through the barrier. When things like that get the vibe of things in the past that had the same pattern, and every time there ends up being much more to it than they're trying to push. Like, whatever they're trying to push hard, like, I say run as far away from that as you can. So I'm super confident it's not what they're saying with the ISIS connection, but I'm not going to say that I'm confident enough and know enough now to say who it actually was or what it actually was that made this guy do this.
Can I say one thing real quick? We're not the only people that, and actually, if you look into Germany, Germany also, there are some attacks that happened last night.
Yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. I sent you a thing on it.
Interesting.
There was a shooter, killed 10 people at a bar. I can't pronounce those names at all, but a couple things happened in Germany yesterday. Two events that I guess were pretty big. So there's things also going on in other places, which is kind of crazy. It's just the state of the world. But keep going.
No, yeah, that's a good point. And the same thing that's happening here is kind of happening in Germany, where there's like a right-leaning populist movement that's really freaking out the government, that's really freaking out the European Union. And like I said before, the people who benefit from the way the system's set up right now, they'd literally rather watch the world burn, watch like 50% of the population die than to just roll over and take what's happening. So like the worst imaginable things possible. I don't think like we could rule that out. I don't think we could rule out them intentionally breaking the power grid or like creating a cyber attack that wipes everything out, that, you know, kills 250 million people. I think all that's on the table because what they're willing to do to not lose. And then for the Vegas thing, I agree it could be the far left, but I actually think that between the far, I don't think it's either of these two, but I think between the far left and the far right now, I think that's more likely that would have been the far right, like those white nationalist crazies that have jumped out the woodwork over the last week or so that got kind of played and hyped up by the bot farm. But I don't think it was that. I think it's probably somebody like in a like powerful position that's like in like the deep state crew that is trying to create a trend here. Because like you said, it's like that was like a symbolic looking picture. And I think you would have to have some serious clout to be able to get the thing there. Like we didn't get the question and answer why there was no other cars there, why there wasn't any staff there. It's bizarre that only 7 people got hurt and the only person that died was the person in the car. So I think whoever situated that had some influence and had some power, and I don't think it was just some schmuck. But we're going to know a lot more tomorrow night. I'm going to be streaming about it at 8 p.m. You guys are welcome to jump on if not, but if not, I'll be talking about it here. And thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Humberto. Thank you, Cam, for jumping on. Always appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, Brandon.
Yeah, same to you guys. Stay safe and stay strapped out there. God bless, guys. 19 more days. And subscribe. Remember, subscribe. We're almost at 100K. All right, guys. God bless. Talk to you later.